Telling him not to counterpunch.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, Grandmaster sets a new Guinness World of Record. And incidentally, coming from in the world of tennis, Elena and Casper Ruud reigns very strong in Stuttgart and Barcelona respectively. Rivers United floors league leaders Rangers International at their Dokia Messi Mecca Stadium. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from the break. Stay with us.
Telling him not to
And I have with me Michael. Nice to have you, Michael.
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to our viewers out there.
Well, we'll start as usual from the local scene here, where it has been jubilation galore for a Nigerian who has emerged as the longest chess marathoner. He set that record after putting up as many as 60 hours, straight on the board. And this has elated the president of the country, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who has congratulated Onokoya for breaking the Guinness World Record for the longest chess marathon at the weekend.
For me, I think it's a very big feat for Nakoya out there, not just for him, but for the country at large, because courtesy of this feat, he has been able to put the country in the world map out there by setting up a Guinness World Record for himself and for the country as well. So I think for me, it's always good for us to be in the spotlight for the good reasons, because many times enough of those, bad image that some of our citizens do give us out there. So I think it's a nice one to see that Onakoya has been able to put Nigeria in the map for the good reason this time around. So for me, I say big congratulations to him. And many encomium is coming from different quarters pouring on upon him, and I think he truly deserves the praises, and we need to give him his flowers, because it's not an easy feat.
Flowers needs to be given to Tunde Onokoya for coming first, breaking the world record of the longest chess marathoner. Meanwhile, the record was held at the time of 58 hours. He had to put in as many as 60 to emerge as the new record holder. It doesn't come easy, but for me, what is most cheering is that he said he's raising, he had to do that, he had to enter into Guinness Book of Records, to raise $1 million for African children who cannot make it in education, but at least through his efforts can now go to school.
For me, this is an impressive idea. He's not just talking about making money for himself or the fame or stardom that comes with breaking such a world record, but he's thinking outside the box, thinking beyond what the natural person wants to think about. He's thinking about to give back to the society, not just for Nigerians only, but for Africa, talking about the destitute, those who have financial, issue in terms of going to school. And if you take a look at the record, according by UNICEF, when it has to do with, school dropout in Africa as a whole, I think the number is not encouraging. So for him to be able to put up such lovely idea by trying to give back to the society, to the continent of Africa, I think it's a lovely idea. If other sportsmen and women is thinking in this direction, I think we'll have a better society where, despite the fact that you are coming in from a very poor background, but then somebody is still out there thinking of a better way in order to ensure that you pass through the educational system. I think for me it's an impressive idea, and we must commend him, for this idea.
Tunde Onokoya raising $1 million to aim at training African children in school, given where he's come from. He's known to have been raised from the slums in Lagos, and having seen poverty, firsthand. He's in doing things aimed at taking children off the slums and returning them to the classroom. And I think this is worthy of emulation. No wonder the president of Nigeria is very elated about the effort of Tunde Onokoya, who did not only just break the Guinness Book of Record, but he's right now trying to ensure that children on the streets in most African countries are in school and not at the slums. Having been in the slum himself, he knows what it takes. Meanwhile, let's quickly go away from that and look at something that seems to be happening new in Nigerian sports. Towards creating a new dawn for Nigerian sports, we understand the Federal Ministry of Sports Development has signed a landmark agreement with top companies aimed at raising revenue profile of the ministry and also ensuring that there is new deal for welfare of athletes. Sports Minister doing everything possible to ensuring that Nigerian athletes get some reward for their efforts.
For me, I tell you, this is the way to go, and we must also commend the sport minister. Since he came on board, I think he's been doing a very human job out there. Don't forget, when he was appointed, people had to dig deep into his profile, and there was nothing sport related about his profile out there. But then, as at then, so many persons have these doubts on whether can he be able to perform optimally compared to what we've seen some of the ministers have come and done in the past. But for me, I think he's been able to prove critics wrong, that indeed he truly knows his onions in terms of sport administration. So for me, I think we must also commend the sport minister, because this is a new development. When we get to strike this kind of deal with brand or companies out there, I think it's going to be a nice one. But then, looking at the angle that they are, thinking toward about taking care of, retired athletes, and all of that, I think for me, this is something that I've been missing over the years. That our sportsmen and women, when they go out there to do us proud at a time where, they no longer have what it takes to, compete favorably at the highest level, where they say, okay, it's time for me to, retire and relax. They find it difficult to get, reward. When we talk about the reward system, I think it has been very, very poor when it has to do with our sportsmen and women. I think for me, this is a nice idea, that one that is going to, at least help some of our athletes to also have that zeal to always come out to represent their fatherland. Because if other athletes listen to this and hear about this, then they will know that athletes who have chosen different nationalities, to represent instead of Nigeria, to start thinking twice. So for me, I think it's a nice idea. Let's hope that we are going to sustain, these fine developments.
Quickly, we'll go to athletics there and talk about athletics. Reminds me, at the weekend, we saw the Abuja half marathon concluded, and a 17-year-old Plateau State indigenous Francis James only finished second at the maiden event, won by a Kenyan.
Yeah. Massive one. When it has to do with long distance race, I think Nigeria have never been up there in terms of long distance race. We hear the likes of Kenya, Ethiopia, have been able to dominate the scene over the past years. But I think this is an impressive feat. 17 years old and he's doing something big. I think for me, there is hope for Nigeria in terms of a long distance race. We must also ensure that we encourage, this, teenager to also continue to grow through the rank, because I see a future in him. And if you do put a close eye on him and give him the needed support, I think Nigeria in time to come, maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, this is going to be a world star.
World star there for Nigeria, who at least doing well. He came second in after putting up a time of 1 hour to finish beyond the winner of the race, Shedrack and Gumbo from Kenya. This is one race where, of course, everybody knows Kenyans to be very good at marathon. But over the 21-kilometer race, he put up a time of 1 hour, 0.7 minutes to win that gold medal. And not just the gold medal, he had as many as $5,000 to take back to Kenya.
Yeah. Massive one. I think not just winning the gold medal, but a lot of amount of money comes with this very one. I think it's going to help, them for 1 or 2, things out there to take care of some bills. I think it's an impressive one. Just like I said earlier, when it has to do with a long distance race, I think Kenya and Ethiopia, they've proven over the years that in this is their area of, strength, their area of comparative advantage. But then, I think it's a nice one. Despite the gold medal, they still have to go home with a huge amount.
For me, was one which I'm sure James will enjoy over a period of time. I bet beyond the money, like Mike did mention there, the fact that he's a prospect right now in the world of marathon, it gives us hope. At least we can catch up with Kenya someday, if not almost immediately. And we'd like to congratulate the organizers of the Abuja Half Marathon. This is good, and I hope that the Athletics Federation of Nigeria will continue to keep an eye on this and see how we can meet up with a world record. Having these Ethiopians, Kenyans who are experts in the event come around to at least give hope to athletes really gives us something to look forward to. Talking about something to look forward to, one is the Paris Olympic Games, which comes up in Paris in the next few weeks from now. And one Nigerian has just qualified at the weekend. US-born Nigerian athlete Udodi Wonzurike actually picked a ticket to represent the country at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games after winning, the 200 meters at the event that took place in the United States of America. It has to do with qualifying time.
Yeah, I think it's an impressive one for Dodrike. I think for me, I'm seeing so many Nigerians that is going to do well this year.
He was able to beat an American in this race.
Yes, he beat an American who...
Michelle Blake?
Yeah, who we know, their force, what they bring to the table, but then for him to be able to defeat these Americans, which heading into this race, I favor the American to come top in this very one. Looking at their past record for me, but then he was able to break that jinx, by making it through and picking one of the tickets, that will enable him to represent Nigeria in the just coming the Paris Olympic game. I think it's an impressive. But I've seen, few names of, Nigeria talking about our athletes that have made it through to the, Paris Olympic game. I think we'll be doing a very great thing. The likes of Toby Amoshun, the likes of Chukwebuka Enekwechi, the likes of Toby Amoshun to mention, but I think we've seen a
100 meters event. If you remember, he put up a personal best of 9 feet. But let's hope that he will be able to get himself through. We saw him as well in the 4x100 meters bronze event at the Commonwealth Games. Yeah. And now he seems to be graduating from the under-20 to the Commonwealth Games. Yeah. And now to the biggest of sports festival you can find in the world, the Olympic Games. No other place to go after the Olympic Games.
Definitely, and this is what it means for we to, allow some of our athletes to pass through the ranks, because he helps them to equip them up for the challenges ahead. So he started very well as an under-18 as well. He did well under 20. I think for me, this is the way to go, where we allow our athletes to pass through the rank before they get to the top. I think they will be able to equip themselves for the challenges that lies ahead, and for me, it's an impressive one.
Well, athletes that will be into the relay event. There is the World Relay coming up in Bahamas in the next few days from now, to the 4th to the 5th of May, to be specific. And we understand they are scheduled for an interview later today, talking about athletes and officials that will be going to Bahamas for the World Relay event.
I think it's going to be a nice one. It's going to be a preparatory ground for some of these athletes that will be going for the Paris Olympic game. For the Bahamas, it's going to be a test run for them, so that they get to perfect their skills and craft out there. But then they still need to get the approval of the embassy out there. They just need to go there and sort out what their passport and all of that, so that they can be able to take part in this very one. But for me, I think it's a dress rehearsal for them while waiting for the Paris Olympic game, which I think is a nice one, because they need some of this competitive competition as well, to be able to keep themselves in pace while waiting for the Paris Olympic Games.
Preparations of athletes is coming up on the 4th of May, and of course Nigeria is among the 32 nations that have been selected to take part in this event, and I think it will be a good preparatory ground for the athletes. And talk about preparing the athletes, they are still not very happy, because some of their entitlements have not been paid several weeks after they concluded on a major championship.
Very poor one, because we've been hearing of these issues over the time. Don't forget, some of them that just took part in the All-African game that just concluded in Ghana, especially the boxers, they've come out to the media to cry about their camp allowances, their entitlement, emolument, and all of that. I think for me, this is not a nice one at this point, because some of these sportsmen and women, they have their own need as well. They have their family to cater for. When they go out there to do the country proud, it behoves on the authority to ensure that they get what is duly belong to them, because that will encourage them, when next they are called to duty to represent the country, to give out their best. But when they their money and all of that, but this is how many weeks over the line they are yet to receive their entitlement. I think for me, it's not a good story at all. them to the world stage to represent the country. And when we go out there, where they face sophisticated, equipment, where they are being tested, they are there, they discover they have one fault or the other, which for me is always a bad omen for the country. So for me, this is needful. I must also commend the sport minister, who is ensuring that he left no stone unturned. He's paying close detailed attention to every sporting activity to ensure that he restores back the glory of the country in terms of sport activities. So for me, I think this is the way to go.
This is the way to go, no doubt about it, with John Ewang Eno doing his best, ensuring that Nigeria do not have reasons to complain at the forthcoming Paris Olympic Games. Talking about Olympic reminds me that Perez Jepchirchir has stormed to victory in the women's only world record time of 2 hours, 16 minutes and 16 seconds at the London Marathon. This is very cheering for records to continue to tumble ahead of the Olympic Games.
Sure, I know many athletes out there is actually giving out their best to ensure that at least they do well in this year's Olympic game, and some of them are using some of this mini competition as a preparatory ground for them while waiting for the Olympics. So for me, I think it's a good record from the American, 24 years old, doing something.
Beating an African in the process?
Yeah, I think it is very massive. We must also, give him kudos for what he did out there, because it's not an easy feat.
Talking about Kenya's Alexander Motiso Munyao, who held off a distant running great Kebnesia Bekele to win the men's race in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 0.1 seconds. Meanwhile, the British duo of Emily Carres and Mohammed finished third and fourth. So marathon, no doubt, belongs to African worldwide. Meanwhile, Sweden's Ahmad Mondo Duplantis has opened his outdoor season in a stunning fashion at the weekend. Yes, he bettered his own pole vault world record at the Zeeman Diamond meeting held at the weekend. Duplantis, the reigning Olympic and two-time world European champion, cleared 6.24 meters at the first attempt at the England Stadium to improve by 1 centimeter his previous best time set in Eugene, Oregon, in the United States of America. The 24-year-old from America entered the competition at 5.62, clearing 5.82 meters and, of course, 6.0 meters before setting a new world record, his 8th in the discipline. You can't take this one from Duplantis.
No, at all, not at all. An Olympic reigning champion, a two-time world European champion as well. I think it's an impressive one, because I think you have shown over the years that indeed he's one to be reckoned with. You can't actually push him out when he has to do with, this track out there. He has actually achieved a whole lot for himself. And whenever he gets to the touchline out there, this logo of him always telling the world that indeed I'm here is no longer a fluke. He has come to stay. Shortly after the race, he was being interviewed. He said, yeah, he takes joy, on the track out there. He just go out there to enjoy himself, and he hope that these feats that will continue to come along. So for me, I think it's an impressive one for him. Was also congratulating for the feat.
Well, let's go to Formula One now, just before we take a break. And talking about Formula One reminds me of the Chinese Grand Prix that took place at the weekend. One man that continues to dominate is Max Verstappen. He no doubt became, an unstoppable winner at the Chinese Grand Prix at the weekend. Of course, taking out his other athlete. What do you make of this Max Verstappen? He's continued to dominate again at the Chinese Grand Prix.
For me, I think Max Verstappen is just on a wall of his own as it's time when it has to do with, the Formula One out there. Since from last season, what he has actually achieved for himself is, cannot be under-emphasized, because I think this one man, we need another competitor to come and give him a run for his money. Well, I stand right now, I tell you, Max Verstappen, 4 out of 5 so far. If not for the brake failure in the Japanese Grand Prix, I think he should have been able to coast home all 5 races so far. So I think his quality is never in doubt. Max Verstappen is that man to watch out, and I tell you, this season he's definitely going to win it again, unless other drivers, which for me, I don't see any other driver that can be able to give him a run for his money. It's only his teammate, talking about Sergio Perez, who always comes second, who has been trying so hard to catch up with him, which is not forthcoming all over the years. So for me, I think Max Verstappen is one driver that we need to also, give it to him. He has proven time and time, despite the internal wrangle, at the beginning of this season, what they have out there, but yet he did not allow that to deter him. He's still very much focused. Like I said, if not for the brake issue that he suffered in the Japanese Grand Prix, I think it should have been 5 out of 5 so far. Even the Mercedes, boss, talking about the Wolves, came up last 3 weeks to say that, nobody will come close to Max Verstappen looking at what he's done so far this season. So that is conceding defeat already. And for me, I think Max Verstappen, like I said, is just one to watch out for. He comes first while others queue behind him.
Max Verstappen, the number one Formula 1 driver, no doubt about it. At the Chinese Grand Prix, there were 2 major incidents that I saw the assistance of or the introduction of safety cars.
Yeah. I think those incidents, they actually dealt with it properly because they needed the marshals on time to come out and clear some of those, hitches to enable the race to continue. So for me, I think this is what it means for you to prepare very well in any competition out there. Prepare for whatever is to come. Whether there's an attempt of setback, you must be able to deal with it, at the appropriate time, which is what the organizers did. I saw the marshals coming in very handy to ensure that they clear the track so that, the drivers will have a smooth sailing. It was a great one.
Meanwhile, Max Verstappen mentioned to you had emerged as winner at the Chinese Grand Prix. Second place driver at the Chinese Grand Prix is London Norris. Of course, he drives for McLaren. Red Bull's other driver, Sergio Perez, came third. Charles Leclerc was fourth. Of course, he drives for Ferrari. Carlos Sainz, another Ferrari driver, was in the 5th place position. George Russell of Mercedes came 6th. Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin was 7th. Oscar Piastri of McLaren returned 8th, while Lewis Hamilton was the 9th driver. Of course, he drives for Mercedes. Nico Hülkenberg of Haas came 10th at the Chinese Grand Prix. That's where we'll take a break. When we return from a break, we'll go into basketball, where the Tigers fought. We've seen new players join ahead of the basketball league. And coming in from football, El Clasico is done and dusted, and Real Madrid continue to reign supreme in the La Liga. Details of this and many more will be yours when we return from the break. Stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
on the point of order.
Honorable
On the point of
On them. They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
telling them not to count.
And we're still bringing you the latest around the world of sports, and we'll go into basketball now. Talking about basketball reminds me that the Basketball League Africa for this Savannah Conference definitely will be taking place in Dakar any moment from now. But then we have the D Tigers, Nigerian representative at the River Supers, Nigerian representative at the Basketball League Savannah Conference, preparing. And preparation is in top gear. Last time we saw 3 players in their training session, foreign players. Now, Divine Eke, you know, a prominent member of the D Tigers.
I think River Supers will be preparing very, very strong in this year's Basketball African League. After acquiring 3 new players to join in their rank as well. The other day we went to their camp out there, for their first official training section, where we had to talk with some of the new players, talking about Perry and all of that. He's talking about the fact that he's settling down very well. This is another addition, making it 4 signings so far this season. It tells you on how preparedness Rivers Hoopers for this very one. And this player here is one that have traveled far and wide. He played basketball in Spain, Australia, Bosnia, Portugal. So for me, with the wealth of experience that he has garnered while traveling around the world playing basketball, he's going to bring that to the Rivers Hoopers. That is going to even give them an edge, coupled with other 3 new signings so far for the season. I think they've been preparing very, very well for this very one. I think this is the way to go. You need to start preparing, because when you get to the African Basketball League, you are going to meet very stiff opponent, very great squad out there. If you don't prepare very well, then you already ship yourself out of the competition even before it gets started. So for me, I think looking at the fact that in their first maiden edition, they actually did well for themselves, but it wasn't good enough. Second time, the way Rivers Hoopers actually qualified for the Basketball African League, because of the internal wrangle within the Nigerian Basketball Federation, then we were unable to go for that very one. This will be their 3rd outing, and for me, they are preparing very well. It tells you that indeed they are thinking of going out there to actually achieve a positive result, and not just to go out there and to make up the numbers. Be squaring up with the likes of the Algerians, So for me, I think it's a good preparation, a good addition into the Rivers Hoopers, popularly known as the Kingsmen. The
Kingsmen making serious preparation for the foreign-based player injected into the squad. Divineke, of course, a prominent member of the Tigers, now joining, making 4. Expecting the 5th foreign-based player to join, and of course intensify preparation in Lagos, from where they will jet to Dakar, Senegal, where the Savannah Conference will take place. Talking about basketball reminds me that the playoff in the United States of America NBA is really getting very fast and thick. Mike, this is playoff season, regular season done, the play-in done. Yeah. Now the playoff have actually started. Let's start from the Western Conference, where we saw action between Denver Nuggets and LA Lakers. Denver Nuggets, of course, are defending champions, and they continue to show their stuff. 114 over 103 points scored by LA Lakers in the Western Conference. So the very first playoff game there, I saw the defending champions continue to show why they are champions.
It's a good start for Denver Nuggets, the defending champion. I think it's a nice one. And we can't also forget one man. Whenever he's fit out there, he always carry the burden of the team in his shoulder. Talking about Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. It was an impressive display from these 2 players. I saw the way they were playing yesterday. I think it was an impressive one. They went out for all attack. The Denver Nuggets, one thing that they have going for them is that they are always very, very, impressive when it has to do with the attack setup. They are not always this team that will always want to sit back and defend from the blast of the whistle. So for me, I think it was an impressive, start for Denver Nuggets, the defending champion.
Boston Celtics, the #1 seed at the Western Conference, continue to show why they are #1 this season with 114 to 94 points over Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo not good enough to stopping the forays of Celtics from bolting.
Sure, an impressive one for Bolton Celtics. I think looking at the point disparity, about 20-point gap, against the Miami Heat, it was very, very great result out there for them. But though you may want to say maybe the injury to Jimmy Butler for the Miami Heat as well was also, a setback for them. But then that's not to say that we are going to take anything away from the quality of, Bolton Celtic, who over the years have proven time and time again that indeed they are the team to be reckoned with. So it was an impressive outing for Bolton Celtic. We've seen Jason Tattoo as well putting up a triple, digit out there, which for me actually propelled Bolton Celtic to get a victory over Miami Heat.
LA Clippers did what the Lakers could not do, beating their opponent Dallas Mavericks by 109 points over 97 scored by the Mavericks from Dallas. This is sharing, like I said, what Lakers could not do, Clippers are doing it for Los Angeles.
Impressive one for Clippers out there. I think before this game, so many bookmakers actually did not see them pulling this string out there. But then they were able to go out there and compose themselves. We listened to their coach out there before the game. he said that they are out and they will fight, tooth and nail to ensure that they get the needed victory, that the players are poised up and they are ready to go, which they went out there and delivered the deliverables. So for me, I think a big congratulations to them. Let's
look at what happened at the early hours of this morning at the Eastern Conference. And it is, if you're a Nigerian, then you should be happy because Milwaukee Bucks were 109 points better than Indiana Pacers, who scored only 94 points. One man that was at the center of attraction was Damian Lillard, 35 points on the night.
Impressive one for Damian Lillard. Since the course of this season, I think he's been very, very instrumental for Milwaukee Bucks. For me, looking at his impressive display yesterday, if he actually continued this way and have other players, maybe one or two of his teammates are there also coming to the party, they will go very far in this year's playoff in the NBA.
If you're a Nigerian, you are looking forward to seeing the two-time most valuable player, talking about Gianni Antetokounmpo. He was sidelined because of what they call a calf strain there. And in the absence of Gianni Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard stepped up and, of course, put up as many as 35 points in that Game 1 win. It's a game of 7 series, so now they won the first game. They look forward to more out there at the Eastern Conference. Let's look at the other fixture at that Eastern Conference. You look at it and you want to say you win the first game and you go, but in this game we did see as many as 100 points. None of the teams were able to put up to 100 points. Oklahoma City Thunder had just 94 points, and of course that was good enough for them to beat New Orleans Pelicans that scored 92 points.
Yeah, for me the reason is very simple. This is the first game in the playoff, and you don't expect you expect some of the team to be very, very cautious in their approach of the game because they want to take out time and also settle down very well. You have to monitor the strength of your opponent, know their game pattern as well before you can be able to hit in. Maybe in the second or the third games, maybe we might see a larger score line out there. But in the first game, I think for me, it looked as though some of the team, they are very, very cautious in their approach of the first game.
A very cautious approach coming there in the very first game. Like it's Game 1, done and dusted at the NBA playoff tournament. Like we said, one more games, one done, 6 more to come at both the Eastern and Western Conference. Let's quickly go to tennis now because we're running out of time. Casper Ruud has won his first title for the year 2024 when he beat Stefano Tsitsipas in straight sets at the Barcelona Open. Good one for Casper Ruud.
Yeah, good one for Casper Ruud. But before this game, I didn't actually see him, staging Stefano Tsitsipas, because looking at the form of Tsitsipas in this tournament is very, very great, where he was able to tame down some of the big names left in the competition. I actually tipped Stefano Tsitsipas to have the better of Casper Ruud, but then this is a game for you, and for me, I think it was an impressive display from Casper Ruud out there.
Impressive display from Ruud, beating the Greek Stefano Tsitsipas 7-5, 6-3 to claim his biggest title of his career. And of course, it is the first time in 25 years we've seen the man ranked number 60 world moving up, and that's for me, that's what's most important. You keep to erect the points and of course improve your standing on the rankings, and that looks very, very good for Casper Ruud. And talking about points being picked up here and there, there is the Munich Open as well, and that's of course the German Open, so to say. And we saw Holmes' favorite Struff beat the top 7-5, 6-3 to secure a maiden ATP Tour win, though this is just 250 points, but it's an addition to your points.
Definitely, it's an addition to your points. They compared to the 1,000 points ATP that we've seen in the past. We also saw 500 points as well. This is 250 something, because if you add that to what you have already before, I think it gives you an edge to push and go step, maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead of those that is standing before you in the standing. So for me, I think it's a nice one for him to ensure that he get the point out there and they made that concrete.
While there was action in Barcelona, there was action in Germany, there was action as well at Bucharest. Yes, the Bucharest Open saw Hungary's Martins Fucsovics beat Moreno Marven of Argentina 6-4, 7-5 for his second ATP Tour title, and I think this is a good one for Moreno Marven of Marchek. Let's look at what has happened in the female category, and world number 4, Elena Rybakina, has claimed her 3rd title of the year, beating Marta Kustok 6-3, 6-2, 6-2 to winning at Stuttgart, Germany.
Very impressive one for her. I think she's been an impressive form so far since the start of this 2024. She still remains the only player to have defeated the world #1 and world #2 so far this 2024. It tells you of
24-year-old from Kazakhstan.
Yes, it tells you of the improvement that we've seen of her game so far. Let's hope that she can continue to keep up with this fine form in this 2024 going forward.
2024 looks very good for the 24-year-old from Kazakhstan, and let's hope that she can continue to bring it up when we get to the next major Grand Slam. But meanwhile, the victory for Rebecca comes from after titles in Brisbane, if you remember, in January, and now she did the same at Abu Dhabi and coming up here in Germany, Stuttgart, to claim her third title. Meanwhile, American Sloane Stephens has beaten unseeded Magdalene. Let's stay away from tennis quickly now and maybe go to football. And talking about football reminds me of the fact that we're having a lot of programs here and there aimed at catching them young, and one was that which was organized by what they call the Vector program. We saw Dr. Johnny Oba, a well-known FIFA agent, coming to town and spotlighting how to spot young players at a very young age, and of course making it possible to say that yes, you can go to school, but then add football training to their schedule.
Yeah, I think for me it's a nice idea. Despite the fact that many people want to play football these days, but then you must also combine that with your educational career as well. It gives you an edge over other players who who do not go to school either, because it gives you a larger scope of view. If you are not a footballer, you can become a football administrator. You can also become a scout. You can also become a football agent out there. So it exposes you to so many opportunities out there, coupled with the experience that you will get passing through the 4 walls. I think it's a nice one. The combination of education and sport is something that we cannot, undermine, because it's very, very vital in building a very viable, and a very healthy society out there.
You can combine football and, of course, your academics, and this is what Dr. Oba revealed at the weekend at the Joint Vector Seminar. This, of course, we've seen some of these kids who could go as far to go, continue with your program. And for me, it's really cheering, because if you go through school and academics, if you don't get to make it in
because of the
favor of Philly,
yes, because of what they receive. I mean, what they receive out there, that is what gave them the opportunity to go out there over in the US to continue their education, because they got this educational scholarship out there. So it helps them to also delve deep into their career and also explore other area of strength that is within them. So for me, this is the right way to go. Let's hope that they can continue to sustain this fine idea going forward.
Let's look at the latest happening around the Nigerian Professional Football League now, and at the Adoke Mega Stadium Football League now, and at the Adoke Mega Stadium yesterday, we saw league leaders Rangers International by 2 unreplied goals.
Very impressive one from Rivers United after their disappointing outing in the continental games out there. They came back. They've played about 3 games so far. 1-2 out of those 3 games that have played in the league as well. So for me, I think it's an impressive one, but a very major big blow, a big blow rather, to Enugu Rangers, who is gunning for the title as well.
Rangers International suffering one of their defeats, recent defeats there at the hands of Rivers United. We are told that Kano Pillars Pumer Gombe by 4 unreplied goals in